how do you bring Microsoft Cloud App Security logs into QRadar? Well, you need 2 steps for doing this. One is to bring the protocol to be able to make QRadar understand the protocol, and every REST API protocol is different, as well as creating a DSM. This video is about the first part of it. And I'm not going to spend too much time in it because I did a video about this. If you're not familiar with it, in the video description of all my videos, I put this link to a public box folder. When you go to the last page of it, I don't know what this inputs are on the last page, but in there's this PDF file that you can download. I already did, and when you do that, I have hundreds of videos in here, and I think it is a lot easier to find them here than searching in YouTube. But if you search here for cloud, actually inside a PDF, if you search inside a PDF for maybe put REST API, you will find 2 videos that I did about this, and these are the ones. I encourage you, if you're not familiar with this process, to watch this video, which explain all these and all you need to do. And I hope that you have done auto update since February, because there's a new version of that protocol that should have gotten updated with that. But in the video description of that video, and in this one as well, there is a link to this GitHub page where you see the REST APIs that have been, created by, I guess, IBM developers and other people in here. This is the one that we want to go, the Microsoft Cloud App Security. So when you go there, you can read the documentation or just follow this video. It's actually very simple. You find that you need to provide 2 things. One are some parameter values. It's kind of your credentials to retrieve the logs, and also a workflow. We describe the steps that are going to be performed when retrieving the logs. Let's actually show you where you get those two parameter values. When you go into your instance, or you log in with your credentials onto the Microsoft Cloud Security app, you first need to go where the question mark is and click About, and that's the easiest way that I see to retrieve this portal URL. Okay. I will highlight that you need to retrieve only this part because you don't need the HTTPS, and you don't want to put that one, otherwise you're going to get some strange errors. So you retrieve that, put it copy it in your favorite editor. And the other piece that you need is you need to generate a token. For that, you click on the gear, Security Extensions, and you're going to create a token. Now, when you create a token, you will only have the capability of copy that thing when you create it, and after that you won't be able to see it. But there's not a problem. If you miss it the first time, you can create as many as you need and delete the ones that you are not using. Let's actually do one of those. So when you click Add Token, I'm going to give it a name, and just for being extra paranoid, I'm going to cover a portion of the screen here before I click on Generate. And this is what you need to copy. Now you have all the information. You can go back to the 2 files and begin to put the information there. Let's actually go into this one. What you need to do on your favorite editor is in here where it says API URL. You need to put the actual, let's copy that, and you need to put the actual URL, again without the HTTPS, in there. So here is mine. That's my URL, the one I show you where the about is, without the HTTPS and the colon and all that, and then the token I generate. I'm covering part of it. So grab the content of all this, because you're going to use it pretty soon. Now in the QRadar console, go on the Log Source Management app. You're going to go to Log Sources. you're going to create a new log source. This is a single log source, and the type is going to be universal DSM. Universal DSM, and the protocol, again, hope that you have updated this recently with auto updates. It will be also universal, but universal cloud REST API, as I mentioned in the videos I pointed out before. And now is where you put that data. Well, you give it a name. Microsoft actually was testing this before. Cloud application security demo. You put a description if you want. I'm gonna take coalescent out so I can see more events coming. And then here is where you put the actual name and the parameter values I show you in the editor with your appropriate field. You paste them here, and they're obfuscated because this is kind of a password. I put the beginning of it, and you see that these are the workflow parameter values, right? And in here on the workflow, all you need to do, and you can grab this, go back to the GitHub that I showed you before, and again the link will be also in the video description of this one, and go to this file and copy it exactly the way it is, unless you want to modify something here. You know what you're doing, and you are modifying things in here. So I'm going to copy that. For example, if you want to modify the interval with this thing retrieves the logs, you can see here that this is 30 days. So you can actually modify this. Again, you don't have to, but it's a free format, so you can do it if you so choose. So let's go back to that configuration we were doing. And in here, we are going to put exactly the file. Make sure you don't leave any extra space like I'm doing right now. Make sure that there's no strenuous thing. This is actually part of the UI, the interface, the UI. It's not extra space. So because if you put anything in here that doesn't belong, then you're going to get some strange errors. And now we are going to go to the next step, and we're going to click here to start the test. And we get the testing passing, so it means that we did the things right. If you get some strange workflow error or stuff like that, make sure you close all these windows and start from the beginning, revise your steps, but don't try to fix it in here. Make sure that you haven't created any log source yet, so close this window and start on the admin tab again. Now we are almost done, but remember that every time that you manually add a log source in QRadar, you'll need to deploy the changes. Okay, so we have that there, and there when we go back to the admin tab, it's going to warn us that we need to deploy the changes. Okay. No, that's what we were doing. I'm going to deploy the changes, pausing the video until that completes. So deploy changes finished. When I go back to my log activity, here we have the MCAS demo. They are unknown, as I mentioned in the previous video. You need to use the DSM editor and create the DSM parser, as you probably are familiar with.